before the relentless, frantic noise of the external world and the chaotic, deeply unhealed matrix of other people's limitations dictate another moment of your day. Deliberately and intentionally stop. Right here, in this fiercely protected, intensely sacred container of time, draw a deep, heavily anchoring breath directly into your solar plexus, the absolute center of your personal power. Inhale slowly, pulling thick, restorative, fiery air past your chest, all the way down into the quietest, most suppressed chambers of your gut. Hold it for a singular, echoing heartbeat, allowing that pure cosmic oxygen to locate the ancient, stagnant anger, the heavy compromises, and the exhausting urge to shrink your massive light to make others comfortable. Exhale, permanently dropping a massive, suffocating boulder of false politeness, suppressed passion, and toxic accommodation from your tired shoulders. Completely unclench your jaw, releasing the visceral, physical memory of biting your tongue when your soul desperately wanted to scream the truth. Soften your eyes, drop your shoulders, and let the physical floor entirely support your weight. You are fundamentally, undeniably safe in this space. You are fiercely recognized for your radiant, raw, entirely unfiltered essence and your absolute, divine right to take up massive amounts of space. We are currently standing at a staggering, intensely volatile, and profoundly explosive energetic intersection. The date is May 4. This is absolutely not a day for casual observation, and it is certainly not a day for playing small, apologizing for your intensity, or retreating into the familiar, suffocating shadows of your old, compliant, coping mechanisms. This is a day of absolute, breathtaking, and terrifyingly beautiful emotional detonation. On this highly specific, mathematically precise point in the universe, we are being ignited by a profoundly rare, fiercely confrontational, astrological alignment. Today, while the moon operates in its waning gibbous phase, the great celestial vacuum pulling away the dead debris of the past Mars, the primal planet of war, passion, and raw action, locks into a massive, highly frictional square aspect with Jupiter, the giant planet of limitless expansion, absolute truth, and unimaginable abundance. These are not just distant celestial bodies moving silently in the dark, cold void of space. These are literal energetic codes, massive, foundational software updates for your human experience, being downloaded directly into your nervous system, your heart space, and your primal drive. They are completely, irrevocably destroying your outdated internal blueprint for love and replacing it with an empire of absolute, unapologetic expansion. Let us deeply, courageously examine what is actually happening within your spirit as the purging waters of the waning moon meet the explosive, deeply restless, boundary-breaking fire of Mars clashing with Jupiter. Mars is your internal warrior. It is your right to say no, your drive to conquer, and your raw, unfiltered passion. Jupiter is your inner philosopher king. It represents your highest beliefs, your demand for massive growth, and your refusal to be caged. For a very, very long time, you have been operating in a state of exhausting relational confinement. Because of your deep, beautifully empathetic soul, your profound capacity to see the good in people, and your deep-seated fear of being too much, you have lived in a chronic, agonizing cycle of emotional claustrophobia. You have taken your massive, beautifully expansive Jupiterian desire for a breathtaking, life-altering, epic love, and you have relentlessly shoved it into tiny, restrictive, suffocating boxes to fit the limited capacity of partners who were terrified of the open ocean. You have desperately, constantly policed your own right to be magnificent. You have felt a deep, instinctive flare of Martian anger when your boundaries were crossed or your worth was diminished, only to immediately gaslight yourself, swallowing that vital, protective fire, convincing your mind that you were just being too aggressive or asking for too much. You have gone to absolute war against your own expansive nature to defend the comfort of romantic partners who were secretly intimidated by your brilliance, swallowing your own profound need for adventure, passion, and growth, just to protect the fragile, toxic ecosystem of a connection that was built entirely on you remaining small. You took your primal, vital, emotional life force, your beautiful capacity to burn incredibly bright, and you locked it in a heavy, dark, subterranean vault because someone in your past convinced you that your passion was overwhelming, that your standards were unrealistic, or that your demand for an expansive life was a threat to their deeply, deeply ingrained mediocrity. You fell deeply, tragically, into the devastating habit of performing the low-maintenance partner. You became fiercely addicted to the noble, exhausting, completely self-destructive crusade of starving your own massive soul just so someone else wouldn't feel inadequate standing next to you. You confused the absolute exhaustion of this endless, unwinnable self-suppression with the feeling of being a good partner. You thought that because you were not demanding more, because your nervous system was constantly working overtime to mute your own shine, it must mean you are highly spiritual or unconditionally loving. You mistook the suffocating, anxious cage of a limited relationship for a safe harbor. You have been operating in a thick, heavy fog of self-betrayal, carrying the heavy chains of other people's limitations, entirely convinced that if you just made yourself small enough, they would finally feel safe enough to love you properly. But as the profound, transformative energy of this May 4 transit hits its absolute, explosive peak, as the waning gibbous moon acts as a cosmic magnet pulling the poison of your compliance away, and as Mars aggressively collides with Jupiter, the dizzying fog of your relational confinement is suddenly, violently, and beautifully burning away. This alignment is sparking a massive, irreversible, and entirely explosive spiritual liberation directly within your romantic core. It is the sudden, striking, physical realization of the sovereign creator who finally drops the heavy burden of playing small and demands the absolute luxury of an enormous, limitless love. You are experiencing a literal, physical shockwave of expansion. The heavy, intoxicating, deeply addictive illusion that love requires you to shrink is shattering into a million unrecoverable pieces. You are suddenly seeing the past, the toxic dynamics, the endless swallowing of your righteous anger, and the agonizing lack of true, expansive partnership with a stark, almost blinding realism. You are looking at the people who handed you a tiny, dusty corner of their life as a substitute for an empire, and for the very first time, you do not feel the desperate urge to fit yourself into it. You do not feel the heavy, clawing responsibility to lower your magnificent vibration while they continuously refuse to elevate theirs. You are finally deeply understanding that your vital, brilliant passion, yes, even your massive, terrifying capacity for righteous anger was never meant to be suppressed just to keep someone else comfortable while they continuously chose to live in the shallows. This is the absolute, permanent death of the accommodating settler within your romantic blueprint. You are finally dropping the heavy, rusted mask of the person who accepts the bare minimum. You are taking your immense, beautiful, terrifying Martian fire and your expansive Jupiterian vision back from the realm of the unlived. You are finally realizing that true, sovereign love requires the absolute, terrifying courage to demand everything. Listen to the sound of my voice and let these words sink into the deepest, most permanent layers of your physical bones and your subconscious mind. Mars and Jupiter are doing the profound work of breaking you out of your cage. The square aspect is creating the exact amount of uncomfortable friction necessary to make you utterly disgusted by anything that restricts your growth. The waning moon is handing you the magnificent, obsidian sword of undeniable truth to sever the dead cords of those small connections, opening the golden, massive gates to a timeline of love that is so incredibly expansive, so beautifully wild and free, it will initially shock your healing nervous system. For so long, you have operated in a state of emotional starvation. This cosmic convergence is stepping powerfully into your energetic field, placing its warm, heavy, incredibly steady hands firmly on your shoulders, looking you dead in the eye and whispering a profound, ultimate truth into your soul. Your intensity is not a flaw, it is a profound compass of your immense capacity. Your demand for a partner who wants to conquer the world with you is not an inconvenience. It is your absolute divine right. True, authentic, profoundly aligned love is not supposed to require the assassination of your wildest dreams. You are currently undergoing a radical, highly accelerated nervous system upgrade. You are being recalibrated to handle the intense, beautiful, massive frequency of true, unfiltered, limitless devotion. You find yourself suddenly, inexplicably repulsed by the lazy, uninspired, deeply restrictive dynamics that you used to tolerate. The idea of analyzing a mediocre connection for hours just to find a shred of potential suddenly feels profoundly insulting to your intelligence and your spirit. You are looking at the confusing, emotionally limited partners you used to accept, and you are feeling an unshakable, elevated intolerance for anything less than absolute, burning devotion backed by massive, expansive, undeniable action. This is not you becoming arrogant. This is you becoming sovereign. This is you stepping into the absolute luxury of your own unapologetic magnitude. You are calling in a partner who does not hand you a cage, but instead brings you the entire sky. You are calling in an equal, a sovereign, expansive king for your sovereign, expansive queen, a limitless creator for a limitless creator. Someone who has faced their own fear of greatness, learned to wield their own Martian fire with honor, and is now standing completely whole, capable of matching your deepest emotional intensity and running with you toward the absolute edge of the universe. Do not dare to judge the past versions of yourself for the smallness they endured. They did the absolute best they could with the unhealed wounds of rejection they carried. I want you to deeply, profoundly, and entirely forgive yourself right now. I want you to let the sound of my voice be the final, absolute permission you need to completely release the heavy burden of your suppressed, confined, relational history. Let your physical voice vibrate in the actual air around you. Speak it out loud, with the force of an unshakable, exploding star. I completely, entirely, and unconditionally forgive myself for confusing restriction with safety. I forgive myself for swallowing my sacred fire and shrinking my massive soul to fit into rooms that were far too small for me. I forgive myself for pouring my incredibly potent, expansive energy into people who were terrified of my light. I forgive myself for believing I had to be less so that someone else could feel like more. I completely, permanently release the heavy chains of my past compliance. I completely sever all energetic cords to the people who needed me to stay small so they could feel powerful. I call all of my vital, brilliant, passionate, fiercely expansive energy back to my own body. I am finally, deeply, and irrevocably open to the absolute abundance of wildly expansive, intensely passionate, and effortlessly limitless love. I boldly claim my massive space. I claim my sovereign fire. I permanently claim my entirely new, boundless reality. Breathe that massive, world-altering declaration deeply into the very core of your physical cells. Do not just let these words float in the superficial layers of your conscious mind. Drag them down deliberately and heavily into your bloodstream, your muscle memory, and the ancient, echoing marrow of your bones, where your deepest truths have been waiting to awaken. Feel the actual, undeniable physical shift occurring in the temperature and density of the room surrounding you right now. Feel the oxygen become incredibly dense, highly charged, fiercely supportive, and shimmering with a heavy, explosive, golden terrestrial light. You are actively, permanently crossing the roaring, burning bridge that separates the suffocating timeline of the confined settler directly from the boundless timeline of the sovereign, limitless creator. You can feel the intense, blistering heat of the old, incredibly small world burning to absolute ash right behind your back. You can hear the heavy structures of your past accommodations crashing into the void, completely destroyed by the sheer force of your unapologetic boundaries. But you absolutely do not turn around. You simply keep walking straight ahead, stepping directly into the majestic, passionate reality that you have so fiercely earned. You must deeply understand and meticulously prepare your nervous system for the absolute certainty that you will be tested in the rapidly approaching coming weeks. The universe will always send a pop quiz to ensure that your newly established, massive boundaries are forged in impenetrable iron and not just softly drawn in the accommodating sand of your old habits. The desperate, hungry ghosts of your unhealed, compliant patterns will inevitably try to drift back into your brilliantly glowing energetic field. An ex-partner, a toxic family dynamic, or a deeply familiar, chaotic situation might suddenly reach out with a familiar, small, profoundly uninspired offer. They will send that seemingly innocent, entirely low-effort text message late at night. They will dangle a brilliantly disguised, manipulative breadcrumb of affection, carefully designed to trigger your deepest wounds of feeling like you must accept whatever you are given. They will arrive at the golden gates of your expansion, fully expecting the old, easily manipulated you to drop your entire life, rush in, and seamlessly resume your unpaid role as their personal energetic supply. They will desperately want to see if the easily intimidated, easily contained version of you is still available for them to consume, hoping to drain your brilliant light just to keep themselves temporarily warm. But when they do this, and they absolutely will do this when that familiar name unexpectedly flashes on your glowing screen, you are going to experience the ultimate, exhilarating, deeply physical, and entirely undeniable victory of your brand new, towering frequency. In the past, this precise trigger would have caused a massive adrenaline spike. Your heart would have raced, and you would have blindly rushed to fix it, folding yourself into a tiny, uncomfortable shape just to manage their mediocrity. But now, you will simply look at the manufactured drama. You will look at the swirling chaos, the blatant manipulation, the profound smallness, and the heavy expectation for you to sacrifice your magnificent expansion on the altar of their dysfunction. And you will feel absolutely nothing but a calm, elevated, completely untouchable, and profoundly grounded, sovereign silence. The familiar hook will not catch your spirit. The toxic bait will not tempt you for a single millisecond. You will observe their restrictive storm from the absolute safety of your own blazing lighthouse. You will recognize with terrifying, beautiful clarity that their limitation is absolutely not your cosmic calling to resolve. You will quietly, beautifully, elegantly, and decisively close the door, locking it permanently in the physical world and the vast quantum field of your own brilliant mind. Now, I want you to take one final, incredibly deep, purposefully anchoring breath right in this exact sacred second. Place both of your warm, capable, incredibly powerful hands firmly and deliberately over your solar plexus, the space right above your stomach, the absolute seat of your immense, roaring fire. Press down gently, reminding yourself that you are physically here, grounded entirely in the fierce, present moment. Close your heavy, tired eyes. Feel the steady, ancient, entirely reliable, and beautifully rhythmic pulse of your own massive, uncontainable life force thumping steadily beneath your palms. That heartbeat is the relentless, victorious drum of your total sovereignty. That physical sensation of heat is the ultimate proof that you survived everything designed to extinguish your flame. Everything you have experienced up until this exact, precise moment, every single bitter tear you cried, feeling like you were too much, every agonizing betrayal, every exhausting attempt to make yourself small enough to be loved, was absolutely not a cosmic punishment. It was merely the turbulent, deeply necessary, expertly designed, cosmic bridge required to get you exactly here, to this very breath, to this profound realization of your staggering, limitless, breathtaking power to fiercely protect your own massive space. If these highly specific, deeply charged, and fiercely unapologetic words have successfully managed to bypass the heavy, exhausted, overthinking patterns of your logical mind today, if they have bypassed the rigid guards of your anxiety and spoken directly, intimately, and flawlessly to the deep, ancient, wild wisdom of your spirit that has been lying dormant for far too long, do not let this wildly powerful, explosive, energetic window close without firmly and consciously claiming it. Like this message right now. Do not do it just out of an unconscious, modern scrolling habit, mindlessly tapping a glowing screen as you pass by in a state of distraction. Instead, let the very physical, tangible, deliberate action of pressing that button be a heavily grounded, silent, and completely unbreakable signature on your brand new, permanently upgraded contract with the limitless cosmos. Let that tiny, physical movement of your finger be the physical manifestation of your internal tectonic shift. It is you firmly, bravely, and physically declaring to the vast, listening universe that you are finally, irrevocably ready to step completely out of the suffocating cage of your past. It is you throwing the heavy iron doors of your own self-imposed limitations wide open, stepping boldly into the blinding, warm light and fully opening your arms to receive absolute, limitless, and terrifyingly beautiful abundance. Do not keep this awakening locked inside the silent chambers of your own mind. Share your profound journey, your massive emotional release, and your deep, brilliant, psychological realizations in the comments below. Do not hold back a single ounce of your truth. Declare your brand new, unapologetically massive standard for the entire world to witness. Use your actual, specific, unfiltered, and deeply visceral words to carve out the exact shape of your brand new reality. Tell the infinite universe exactly what kind of mediocre, restrictive behaviors you are absolutely no longer available to tolerate in your sacred physical and energetic space. Outline exactly, with crystal-clear precision, what kind of fierce, expansive, limit-shattering, and deeply devoted love you are actively calling into your orbit. Let your physically typed words act as an unbreakable, heavy, golden, energetic anchor plunging straight into the material plane. You must deeply understand that your highly specific story, your exact, bleeding words of raw liberation, and your terrifyingly beautiful vulnerability might be the precise, exact vibrational key that someone else in this rapidly elevating community desperately needs to encounter today. Your newly found bravery, displayed openly in written form, might be the exact cosmic frequency required to help a complete stranger finally recognize their own worth, drop their heavy armor, and permanently break their own chains of smallness. We are not healing in isolation, we are healing together in a massive, unstoppable, earth-shaking wave of collective spiritual awakening. Subscribe to this exact frequency of absolute, unapologetic relational sovereignty and massive, undeniable expansion. Keep your beautiful, fiercely resilient spirit strictly and beautifully tethered to this highly elevated, deeply grounded vibration as we continue to actively, bravely, and consciously navigate these paradigm-shifting, profoundly turbulent cosmic waves together in the transformative months to come, you will need this anchor. You will need this reminder of your own staggering magnitude when the shadows try to creep back in. Now, I need you to take one more intentional, wildly expansive, entirely lungs-filling breath. Breathe in the crystal-clear, utterly brilliant reality of this present, intensely sacred moment. Let it physically expand your ribcage. Fill your entire, magnificent human vessel with the vibrant, luxurious, explosive, golden energy of your completely unapologetic, passionately alive, brand new beginning. Feel it rushing through your veins. Exhale the thin, pathetic, desperately tired echoes of your past limitations. Blow those heavy, suffocating memories of playing small, of shrinking your light, and of settling for crumbs completely away into the infinite cosmic void, where they can never touch you again. You are profoundly, incredibly, and undeniably safe to be enormous. You are miraculously safe to take up massive amounts of space. The suffocating, punishing era of playing small is permanently, entirely over. The toxic illusion of the contained, easily managed partner is dead and buried. The expansive, abundantly passionate, and fiercely protected reality of your limitless love life is finally, beautifully here. Welcome home, beautiful vast soul, to the magnificent, undeniable, and world-altering magnitude of your own unshakable greatness.